I'm gonna get lots of things wrong in this video, which is deadly because it means I'm learning. So I thought I'd read a little something relevant. We have a microscopic anatomy of the whale. This is reassuring. We have a map of the universe for microbes, a map of a microbe for the universe. We have a grandmaster of chess made of electronic valves. But above all, we have the ability to sort peas, to cup water in our hands, to seek the right screw under the sofa for hours. This gives us wings. Poetry. No, that's literally poetry. Recognizing the juice in taking time. Engaging. There is no room here for perfection. Why would you make allowance for something that doesn't exist? And there's no room for good enough either, unless only so far as to acknowledge that your best is what's good enough. Otherwise, what's the point? It's not about the car. It's not about what the car's worth. It's about the pursuit and the learning, the deeper reward. Yeah, no, I'm not going to let up with the encouraging words because they're fundamental, and as you'll find out in a video very soon, they're going to be really important for the future of the channel too. So anyway, let's get into doing things wrong. The 80 grit sandpaper scratch in the bonnet may seem trivial, but to sand it out without leaving a divot in the surface means extending the sanded area out far enough that the eye won't pick it up. It also means risking blowing through the gel coat unnecessarily, which wouldn't be the end of the world, but I'd rather avoid it as much as possible. Another unseen mistake was way back when I started sanding these vent holes and got very over it very quickly. I took the die grinder to the top coat of paint to try and speed things along and found out pretty quick that it wasn't a good idea. Even sanding like this with 80 grit isn't a good idea, but as I learned from this torturous bit of work that I have to go over and over again with ever finer grades of paper, it's like pulling out of gridlock onto the old road just to feel like you're making progress when you know it's actually going to take you longer to get home. Going at these vents with 240 or 320 grit and being patient would actually have taken less time. Having sanded these panels months ago, I quietly hoped I'd find them almost ready as they were. I got a rude awakening. Some of them looked like I'd dragged them across the floor. I must have. The sanded surface on even the best prepared of them shone a stark light on how much I've learned since I first went at them. Some of this filler was needed either way, but some of it is patching up less than ideal work. Just to illustrate how rippled and wavy fiberglass can be whilst looking straight at a glance, watch as the primer coming through shows up the high and low points in the surface of the bumper. The black blob in the middle is the top coat of black paint, showing a big depression in the bumper, a low point. The raw fiberglass is a ridge, a high point not far away, and the sandy looking grey area to the left of it is an old repair where the bumper must have gotten a hole poked in it. And here's the extent of that other repair, with an impressive ring of stress cracks around it, and my fiberglass repair that should last longer. Hopefully. These holes are mistake number 3. I mean, they're bodge number 11 billion, but my mistake was not filling them before I undertook the repairs to the bumper ends, where previous damage would have allowed me access to the backs of the holes. Check out that video after this, by the way, it's a good one. Or just go back and check out the whole series. Hit like too. The plan was to pull the tape up behind the hole to back it, so that wet fiberglass wouldn't just fall through. I underestimated how dusty the inside of the bumper is though, and once the welding wire came out, you know what that stuff's like to wrestle, the plan was sunk. This is the right screw under the sofa though, the little challenge that makes life interesting when you lean into it. This whole project is counting peas. It's menial and time consuming, but that doesn't detract one bit from the goodness in it. Yeah, that's what I asked. Riddle me this. If I'd saved time by going straight to this process, what would I have saved it from? I've mixed a little bit of resin, about 25 grams, and I'm wetting out the prepared area around the hole I'm going to fill. That'll make sure the resin gets grip in all the tiny nooks and crannies. And when I say prepared, I ground this out with a die grinder, blew all the dust out with the air line, and cleaned it thoroughly with acetone. Now, using the same batch of resin, but keeping a tiny bit back just in case, I'm adding some chops of fiberglass to ensure the repair isn't brittle, and some fumed silica to thicken the mix so that the resin doesn't just run out of it through the hole. If I'm gentle while I apply the mixture to the hole, it shouldn't all just squeeze out through the other side. But I'm not going to look, so we'll never know. You're looking at mistakes number 4 and 5. I had to put the riv nuts into the bumper to test fit it to the car, and the first mistake was trying to be clever by sanding the area under and around each one before fitting them, so I wouldn't have to take them out again. The second, leaning into that plan and applying filler expecting to get a good flat panel by sanding around the nuts. I have removed them and done it all again. This whole lip on the bumper is a problem for me. It doesn't fit the car at all. I mean, it doesn't hug the bodywork the way it should. It just hangs in the air, and my instinct is to cut it off, but it would need to be replaced with something to help support the bumper, and I just can't decide. There are only 2 thin but awkward cantrails to sand now, and finishing prep on the headlamp pods, so next time I'll be applying the final layers of primer and I can finally take down this cling film glasshouse of pain and put bodywork behind me. Us behind us. But never fear, when the time comes, I'm gonna have all the right screws ready. To new patrons, Ian Seckington, Rob Hadfield, Jason Tripp, Hans Huber, Jonas Moran, Sean Wilson, Simon Rushby, Simon Astwood, Bjorn Rathia, Matthew Stott, Rob Woodhouse, Rufus Davies, John Partridge and Graham Ring Davies. Thank you, and thanks to all my patrons for keeping all of this going. Patrons get behind the scenes rundowns on all of these episodes, so if you'd like those or to support the channel in any way, find the link to my website down below. I'll see you real soon with another one, and until then, stay stuck in and good luck.